But the individual, that spirit that you are communicating with has individual circumstances, first of all. Secondly, they do retain their freedom of choice. Okay? So they may not have made the choice to leave. Another reason is that they may need to feel like they have permission to move. A lot of times we give them permission when they are in a room or they are still here close to us. Now, another thing is that people that are your loved ones that have crossed over, they want to be with you. I mean, they're in a state of grace, or they're in a place of rest and a place of peace, but that doesn't mean they can't still be with you. Because when you're working with another dimension, the rules are different. Okay? The rules are not the same rules that we expect. Like we expect to, once we leave here, to go to another place. But spirits, in some senses, can be with you and be with someone else at the same time. Okay? Because it's all about energy, and it's all about energy connections.
So quite quickly.
It's a sense of travel. It's a sense of presence. Okay? And so that's what you have to accept about spirit. They operate on a different plane than we do. And
do you find something in particular that energizes them?
To move?
No, not to move so much as but to communicate.
Well, once again, it's their choice. And asking them to come is part of that energizing. Right. So you can ask angels to come, you can ask guides to come, you can ask others to come and be with you. And that helps generate an energy that will have them be able to communicate with you. So we are so connected with other dimensions that I'll talk about in just a little bit about other dimensions. But we are very connected with them. For instance, in your particular case, there's a lady that is over right now. She's over your right shoulder. Do you have a mother in spirit, or is your mother? Okay. Was there an illness around her?
Well, that would be my sister.
Your sister, okay.
She died of cancer.
Died of cancer. Okay, then that's why she's over your right shoulder. But usually mothers are over the left shoulder, and that's another thing. When you're working with spirits, a lot of times people will indicate to you their position in life, and it's just like I said. I look like a woman, but she was over the right shoulder, which is usually the placement of fathers and grandfathers. But your sister wanted to come in, and the next thing I was going to tell you was that she died of cancer. Okay. Now, were there a lot of smokers in your family at one time?
Yeah.
Okay, because you're a lot of spirits are coming in around you right now that smoked. Okay. So, but that's just the energy that is coming around you.
My sister, my mother did, my dad did in Copenhagen.
Okay. Well,
they're tobacco addicted. I'm not.
Okay. Well, but tobacco is a very large part of your soul's group's energy, because they smoked and they like tobacco. And they seem to be a happy group. They seem to always be. Were they always jolly? Because I'm seeing them be very happy.
Except when I screwed up. Yeah.
Well, okay. And did anyone ever play the piano?
Dad would not be so jolly.
Okay. Well, but we all have our issues. So, but it just seems that, for instance, in your case, it looks like someone used to play the piano a lot. Who used to play the piano? And if it was an immediate family, it might have been an ancestor.
My mother tried.
Your mother tried to play the piano.
Yeah,
Okay. Well so your mother played the piano. Okay. Yeah. So like I say, you have a lot of spirits that are around you that are coming in today, and something about a ring. Did you have someone have a large ring that they received from a college or something like that? Something about this is a man's ring, so. It's something that might come to you a little bit later. Or did you ever wear a ring? Did you ever wear a college ring or a ring?
Air Force.
Air Force. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So. Okay. Well. Well, but it's something that was a matter of pride, or something that your family was always commenting about. So that's an important part of your life. But you see, that's basically how it works, because I've never met you before, but the information that was coming visually. It was coming in a lot of other ways too. I was hearing the piano, but I can also see the piano, and all of these things will come to you when you are working with spirits. You see. So, yes, ma'am.
I just recently had my first grandsons, and one of them I really sense he's, I don't know whether he's a reincarnation of my father, or that my father is there to help him. Does that happen? Or
Excuse me. It's not for me to limit spirit. It's not for me to limit God. I can't do that. I can't say that, this is exactly when or if you're going to reincarnate. I can't tell you. I see a lot of past lives at times where people have memories. I see their memories of past lives, and then they'll verify it by getting a past life regression or some type of hypnosis, and then they'll be able to tell me about it, or be able to recall it. Now, generally, what is said about children is that in some ways children are still closer to their most recent life than this life, because in this particular life they haven't had a lot of imprints placed on them. So they're still recalling imprints, or they recall imprints or events from their previous existence. So imprinting is a major part of psychic ability. It's not just about touch. Now, psychic imprints are done with touch. You're leaving imprints on the chair that you're sitting on right now. But there's also sound imprints. Okay. And that's why if you walk into a room and you hear someone or hear the residual of yelling, or you hear the residual of a gunshot, or you hear the residual of a radio program or something of that nature, sound can leave imprints too, you see. So I know I'm talking to the choir in many ways, but all of these things need to be articulated, because there are a lot of skeptics out there. There are a lot of people that don't want to believe it. And that's why it's all in the validation, it's all in the verification of what you receive. Now, there's a lot of popular mediums out there nowadays. There's the people like James Von Prague, John Edwards, John Holland, all different types of mediums, and all of them have their own styles of giving messages. And the most popular one right now is the Long Island medium. Have any of you seen her? Okay, she's funny. She does interesting work. Her approach is different than mine. Okay, but she is furthering the idea of communicating with spirits. And as it becomes more acceptable, there's going to be a higher comfort level with people about working with spirit and gaining information from crossed over loved ones. Now, there's another benefit. There's a lot of benefits from mediumship and being able to communicate with those that have crossed over. And one of the biggest benefits of mediumship is healing. Because I can't tell you how many times people come to me who are in severe grief, and the knowledge that their loved one, whether it be the husband, wife, grandparent, parent, or child, that comes in, it gives them a sense that they are still here, or they're still alive. And that is a great deal of healing that goes on with this gift of mediumship, this type of work. And so, of course, it has to be verified with events. It has to be verified with the people that are receiving the information, just as with you, sir, about your sister that came in. Because you see, it's like I say, when people come to me and I read for them, I generally see fathers and grandfathers on this side. I will see mothers and grandmothers on over the left shoulder. I'll see spouses and I'll see siblings on the side. Sometimes I see random people, but I also will see animals and children in front. And a lot of times you can miss it. You can miss it, yes.
How do you distinguish between, say, the relatives versus the spirit guides and the angels that are always with you?
The energy. Okay? The reason why you can pick up different types of spirits is because of the energy that they emit to you. This energy I picked up for you there was a lot of love there. I feel like you and your sister were close, and that's why I was wondering if it was Mom. But then Mom showed up by playing the piano, okay? You do have guides around you, but there are different energies that you will be able to pick up by the way that they resonate with you. And that's where it comes back to your inventory of feelings. Okay, so what you may wind up doing is, and I'll give you a little bit of a class here about working with, for instance, your clairsentience. And your clairsentience is all about feelings. It's all about that energy field that comes to you. It's all about when you receive that first impression, when you first meet someone, and you go, boy, that's a nice person, or ooh, I don't like to be around them. But you know what good energy feels like. You know what difficult energy feels like. And so what you may do is you may dwell on certain circumstances. For instance, when you're dealing with your psychic feelings, you may first say, what does it feel like to be around a man? Just what does it feel like to be around a man? And then after you've done that, you say, what does it feel like to be around a little boy? Okay. What does it feel like to be around a teenager, a teenage boy? Then continue to bring that energy up. What does it feel like to be around a father? What does it feel like to be around a husband or a grandfather? And then nuance it even more. What does it feel like to be around a police officer? What does it feel like to be around a doctor? Because all of those feelings give you a certain sensation. Flip it. What does it feel like to be around a woman? Just a woman. And then what does it feel like to be around a little girl, a teenage girl, a wife, a mother, a grandmother? What's it feel like to be around a nurse? What's it feel like to be around another professional person, another maybe a housekeeper, a lady? Just all the different roles that you would consider women to be in. And once you've done that, when you are around it, you can usually pick these things up. You said you were in the Air Force, okay? Well, you've already given me a lot of information, but it seemed, were you ever a mechanic or anything like that, or did you ever work? Or were you a pilot?
Explosives, and I flew reconnaissance.
Okay,
Two different ones.
but you were, when you did the explosives, you were putting things together.
Yes.
Is that right? Okay. Because I'm not only feeling that about you, but I'm also seeing you putting things together. Because if you didn't put it together correctly, you might not be here.
I may be the one over the right shoulder.
You be on the right shoulder, okay. So those are different things that I was seeing around you. But you said Air Force, so naturally you're around planes, of course. Right. But the idea of putting things together is made it simply unique. Okay. I would feel that you're also someone that is, do you like to be outside? Do you like to do a lot of walking? Or have you been pulling weeds lately or anything like that?
Yeah, but my mother-in-law loves to do that. Okay. I wouldn't take that away from her.
Okay. But you might say you missed one. So it's all of these things
But I do like to be outdoors.
that you do like to be outdoors, and these are all the energies that are around you. So, all right. Well, we have a question here. I'll go ahead and take your question.
Thank you. I was wondering, often when I come out of a psychic reading, and it's just a fabulous read, I often wonder, are they really looking into my future, or are they tapping into my wishes or thoughts? Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Pardon me? Okay. The question was, are psychic readings about actually the future, or just basically tapping into hopes and wishes? The answer is both, okay? Because it's all about energy. And a lot of times the energy that you want, or the outcome that you want, is the energy that we pick up. And no one can tell you the future. They can tell you a future. Okay. The easiest energy for a psychic to pick up is your past. Okay. The past energy is the most solid. It is the most definable. It's something that's not going to change. The next energy, pardon me? The next energy that is easiest to read, or the next energy to read, is your present. But the thing about the present is that you haven't made all your decisions yet. And so you can read an event, or you can see some things that are going on in someone's life, but you may still miss some things. Now with the future, you only see a future, because the future is subject to your freedom of choice. And no one controls that freedom of choice but you. And so you can see a future. Or you may see the future, or a future of another person, which can change. And that's the difficulty. That's why we cannot consider what we do a science, because it is in flux. It's in flux. Is it valid? Yes, it is valid. We call what we do metaphysics. And metaphysics is from the Greek term, meta being beyond, and physics being beyond reality, basically. So what we try to do is we try to demonstrate existence beyond the physical, you see. And that's what some of the paranormal is about as well. Now, I was going to just give you some additional examples in the last few minutes, last 30 minutes or so of our talk, about other psychic abilities, so that you'll be able to recognize spirits, or you'll be able to recognize when you are in communication with another entity. The second psychic sense that I talk about is our second sight, which is clairvoyance. Okay? Clairvoyance is here, right, at our mind's eye. That's the physical area that's associated with it. And a lot of times we get flashes, or we get a movie about a particular event. And that's why, once again, you have to practice. You have to practice with your physical ability of sight. In order to be a good psychic or a good medium, you have to be able to tap in or know what you're looking at. And if you know what is a particular detail about a place, then that's going to help you. Now, how many times have you turned on the TV and the psychic said, the body's buried under a tree near a lake? Okay. Well, I go, well, do what?
That narrows it down.
That narrows it down. Now, the thing about it is, if the psychic knows that lake, or knows that those particular set of trees, that's very helpful. But to just say, buried under a tree near a lake, that's not very, very good, because it's too general. It's too general. So when you are out there and you're looking at scenery, or you're looking at different things, then go ahead and study the detail. It will help you with your psychic ability, you see. So when you get that flash in front of you, for instance, if you get a boat, maybe you'll recognize what kind of boat it is. Now, sometimes if you're working, for instance, as a psychic and you are working on a crime scene and you see a gun, well, I don't know much about guns. And if I see a pistol, I'm going to say it's a pistol. But if I knew a lot about guns, if I was a police officer or something like that, someone that knew a great deal about guns, they're going to say that's a such and such and such and such. They're going to know because they have that inventory of images in their mind, you see. Now, as far as your next psychic sense, which is hearing, it is another thing about you recognizing the difference between the inner voice that we all have and another voice that we are hearing. And a lot of times, clairaudience is often called the divine ear. How many times have you seen a preacher on television say, "God told me this"? Well, maybe God did tell him that, and they received it through words. And you may receive that. You may receive information from beyond the physical in an audio sense, through a spirit guide or through a loved one. Okay, and recognizing that is something that you have to do by paying attention to what you're hearing and raising your awareness to try to understand it. A lot of times when I'm doing a reading, I just hear pieces of words, okay, and I try to give as much of a full sentence as I can. A lot of times people will tell me from the spirit world a phrase, and they'll say, "My uncle used to always say that," or "My mother used to always say that." And it may not be something that I would say in my normal speech pattern, and so that would be verification or validation that there's something unusual or something different. Now, the next psychic sense is about intuition, or what you might call claircognizance. Now, claircognizance or intuition is when you have an idea or something that just drops in your mind, or if you have a sense of just knowing. So when you say that you just know something, that's usually something that's claircognizant or intuition. So when we're developing our psychic abilities and our mediumship, we also have to notice what we're saying, the words that we say. We notice that what we're saying is, "I feel this," or "I saw this," "I heard this," or "I just knew it." So these are things when you're developing your skills and trying to capture information about paranormal events. Whatever paranormal event that you're discussing is it's all using some of your psychic abilities to help verify, to validate all of those things. Now, another thing that I use is a little tool when you're developing your psychic abilities. I feel like there are all different kinds of entities and spirits that you can connect with, and I call it the A fields. Okay, the A fields might be something you might want to remember, because the first A field would be ancestors with other family members or other people that are in spirit. So that's an A field. There's a certain resonance of energy that you pick up when you are dealing with people that have crossed over. Okay? Another A field is angels and guides. Now, some people say guides have lived here before. Other ones haven't. A lot of times you'll pick up a Native American guide, or you may pick up some guide that might be a clown, or a guide that might be a soldier, or some other type of great figure. You know, usually the first guide that you meet is a great figure. Okay, so if you all of a sudden see this huge figure in your room or around you that is not intimidating but is bigger than life, that's usually your first guide. That's the first guide that you meet. Angels sometimes can appear in larger than life settings. Sometimes they can be very small. The cherubs are very small. That's another field that you might look at. as far as resonating a particular kind of energy, because an angel's energy is different than a loved one's energy. One's not better or worse. They're just different. The next kind of energy that I pick up as an energy field is animals. Because many times an animal will come to me, your favorite horse, or favorite dog or cat. Sometimes you will pick up, several animals around a person. Because a lot of times an animal that you may have had in your childhood or that you recently lost may come and be around you. They're usually in front. And they're usually spirits that you can pick up. A lot of times you may misinterpret an animal's energy to be somewhat like a child's energy, because sometimes animal energy is very naive. Yes?
I have a cat that's always looking up into the corners of the room. Is she seeing something?
Yes. They say that cats always have psychic vision, and they're the ones that see spirits more commonly than dogs do, but dogs see them too. Okay, so they see them and they notice them. Did you have?
You just can't train a cat to walk with you.
No.
They want to go. They want to go.
Well, we train dogs, cats train us.
Yeah.
So that's the way I look at that difference there. But the last field is one that you might be very interested in, and that is about aliens. Aliens and elementals. Are you familiar with elementals? Okay. Aliens come in different energies. And as a skeptic, and if you're a psychic, you're probably more skeptical than anybody. Or if you're a paranormal investigator, you're probably more skeptical than anybody. You will not accept it unless you have something that you know is different, or something you can feel is grounded. So when I first saw aliens, I said, no. I don't believe it. But I started to believe it because they have a particular kind of energy. And they're either the grays or the browns. They come in, they resonate with certain people. And so a lot of times when I'm doing a gallery or a public event, someone will walk in and there they are. I'm seeing them come in. Okay? And
as long as they pay, it's okay.
they're cheap.
Well, are they from another dimension, or?
Yes, they are from another dimension. It's not necessarily the spiritual dimension, because their energy, their energy is not necessarily peaceful. It's not necessarily kind. It's not necessarily gentle. It's different, and it's something you have to experience in order to be able to communicate.
So they're trans-dimensional, they can go
yes,
cross-dimensional.
yes. It's usually the grays and the browns, but there are other ones that I have seen as well.
Reptilians.
Are you in the same ballpark with remote viewing?
Now, I'll get to remote viewing in just a moment. I just want to mention about elementals. The elementals can be fairies, and they can be dragons, and they can be other entities that will show up. And you had a question, ma'am?
Yes, when you see the aliens, do you have any sense of where they're from? Like, are they from our planet? Are they from another dimension? Are they from the future?
All of the above.